Alright, hello everybody, and this is Andre from Jawan Fitness once again, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to get under 10% body fat. Now I hope you had a wonderful weekend and Sunday with your family and friends, and the whole topic of this video, which I'm going now, is how to get under 10% body fat. So let's get this started. The first mistake is you're only eating healthy foods while neglecting the food that you love. Now I'm going to say this, is that eating a balanced diet is key, and having a good portion of healthy, whole, nutritious foods in your diet is very important. But you want to make sure that you're including your favorite treats, whether that's, Pop-Tarts, sundaes, waffles, whatever that is, to make your diet more endurable. And the problem comes when you're eating these healthy foods is, yeah, you're going to lose fat for the first couple weeks or a month if you stick with it. But eventually what's going to happen is you're actually going to cave in at a certain point. And this happened to me when I first started dieting, where I neglected all my favorite foods and I just bought all healthy foods, so fruits, vegetables, chicken and rice and all that stuff. And I just felt deprived of the regular foods I enjoyed eating. So that caused me to binge eat, and then my calories were up even with a whole bunch of healthy foods. So it's basically finding the foods that you enjoy as well as staying in that calorie deficit. So the number two mistake is you're dropping your calories too much or too quickly. And this was a mistake I made early on, where if you drop your calories too much, so let's say if you're at 50% body fat and your maintenance is 2,800 calories, if you suddenly drop your intake all the way down to 1,800 calories, then, yes, you're going to lose fat, but you're just going to be hungry and ravenous during the whole part of everything. And you're just going to just feel drained because you cut your calories so quickly. So you want to cut your calories very slowly by starting by 250 each week. Then once you get to that 500 mark, just stay right there. And if you stay right there for a couple weeks, and what happens is that if you don't see any progress at that point, then all you have to do is drop it down to 750, so you'll be eating 2,100 calories a day at that point. But that's what I would recommend if being at 500 didn't work for you. And also, if you drop the calories too much, another thing that's going to happen is it's going to mess up with muscle mass, because the less calories you have, the less energy you have, and it's going to eat into muscle. Yes, even if you are getting the sufficient amount of protein, if you drop your calories too much, it's going to mess with that. And also, that drops your leptin levels, which is a feel-good hormone, as well as muscle glycogen, as well as your sex drive, guys. That's really important when it comes to the sex drive. If your sex drive drops, you're not going to be motivated to train as much or as effectively, on top of, talking to girls either, but that's beyond the point of this video. And the next mistake is trying to do low-fat and low-carb diets, because with me, I was doing, low-carb diets, so I would eat like under 50 grams of carbs for my first year of cutting. And I just felt freaking miserable, man. Like, I was just so tired all the time and drained. I just didn't feel motivated at all to train in the first place. And because when you have a sufficient amount of carbs, it's going to give you that energy boost that you're going to need to have a productive and effective workout. Yes, even if fat loss is more important. And I would say keep carbs at 40 to 50% of your total calories in order to help with keep your leptin levels in check. But what's really going to happen is once you drop your calories for a period of time, you're in fat loss for a few months, leptin levels are going to drop inevitably, which is why you're going to need to do a diet break or refeed, which is going to be a future video. Now, when it comes to low fat, fat is very good for keeping your testosterone levels in check. So if you drop that below 25%, that's going to mess up that. And plus, fat is also very good for keeping you full and satiated in between meals, which is very important because that's going to prevent you from overeating in the first place. Now, the next point I'm going to talk about is when you're not tracking your calories, man. Like, seriously, how do you expect to lose fat if you're not tracking anything? So you may think you're eating all these healthy whole foods, and then you step on a scale a week later and you find that you didn't lose any weight, or worse, you gained it. And that's because you're not tracking your calories. And that's happened to me before, early in my fitness journey, where I wasn't tracking anything. Like, I would just eat stuff that I thought was healthy and I would be fine because I have a fast metabolism. And it wasn't until I actually started tracking the amount of calories I was eating every single day that I started losing fat consistently. So the first thing is to download a fitness app such as MyFitnessPal to know exactly how many calories you're consuming each day. And they have different variables in the app that you can use depending on your activity level, whether you're sitting at a desk all day sedentary, or maybe you're a construction worker, or you're cleaning a building or something like that, where you're going to need to eat more calories because you're burning calories much more faster. And once you find that out, select your target weight so you know exactly how many calories you need to eat at that point. And once you do that, just stick with that. Now, I want to say for the macronutrient ratios is 40 to 50% carbs. When it comes to your fats, 20 to 25% is good, and protein 20%. And at that ratio, you're going to be in a good situation because that's going to help you stay full and satiated, as well as help you feel good when you're working out and just be better and productive throughout the day with the high carb intake. And on top of that, finally, is the fats are going to keep you satiated and full in between meals. Now, when you are tracking your calories, I'm going to say you don't have to be 100% exact. The main thing that you want to focus on is to be within 100 calories of your goal. So let's say, for example, I'll use myself as an example right now, where my maintenance calories are 2,750. So if I'm losing fat, then it would be 2,250. And then if I'm in between 2,150 and 2,350, then I'll be at the point where I know I'm still fine with my goal because I'm going to lose fat anyway since my maintenance is 2,750. So as long as I'm below that number, that's what's going to happen. And last but not least, before I actually go and get off, is that the last mistake, this was hard for me, where I read so much fitness advice when I was first starting out that you needed to eat at least 4 to 8 meals a day, which I actually did that for a month straight. And trust me, it was freaking tedious with eating 4 to 8 meals because you're eating every 2 or 3 hours and you're just not getting full. And I know a lot of you who have probably done that. You know, you eat the meal and you're still like hungry after you eat the meal. And it's like, oh wait, I can't wait till I eat again because this didn't fill me up and all this stuff. And yes, I mean, you can lose fat eating 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 meals a day, but it's just not sustainable for most people, and it's not going to be fun because on top of all that, you're not going to be able to eat your favorite treats because a lot of diets that preach eating the whole 4 to 8 meals a day thing is that it's going to just be hard to stick to because you're going to eat little small things of food. And I mean, yeah, water will help, but unfortunately, it's not going to completely eliminate the problem of you being hungry. Now, a better solution would be to eat 2 to 3 meals per day. So however you want to do that, if you want to eat breakfast, if you're into that and don't do intermittent fasting, then wait 5, 6 hours for lunch, eat that, and then dinner. Then, I mean, fine, just do that if it works for you. Now, for me personally, I practice intermittent fasting, so I don't eat breakfast at all. All I do is drink black coffee, sparkling water, or water for the fasting portion of my day. So, for example, I get up at 8 o'clock a.m. and I don't have my first meal until around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So basically, my premise is waiting at least 6 hours to eat after you wake up. Now then I have my dinner around 6 to 7 depending on what I have going on and everything. And then my last meal will be a small snack to ease my cravings, and because I like having sweet treats such as, you know, Pop-Tarts, donuts, and all that jazz. So I had that right before I go to bed. So basically, have like 2 big meals for your lunch or dinner, or however you want to do it. Or maybe if you're losing fat, you want to have a small lunch if you don't have a lot of time for lunch or you're really busy, and then you can have that big dinner, and then you can have the small snack right before you go to bed. So that's actually all I want to talk about. If you have any more questions, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment below, and I want you like the video and share with your friends. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will see you in the next video.